Hi everyone, this is part 2 of solving trig equations quadratic in form, and this one is already broken out for you, so all we're going to do is split this up and set cotan of theta plus 1 equal to 0, or cosecant of theta minus 1/2 equals 0. Therefore, for the left side, we get cotan of theta equals -1, and we have cosecant of theta equals 1/2. Now, on the right side, theta equals 3 pi over 4 and 7 pi over 4. And on this side, the right side, this is not possible. So no solution here on this side. Therefore, our solution set will be 3 pi over 4, comma 7 pi over 4. Okay, some of these, we're going to do some identities on this one, but basically the simple ones. For example, on this one, this is going to be quadratic in form, but we have this sign here, and that's like a different term. So we're going to write this as 1 minus cosine squared of theta. Minus cosine squared of theta. And I'm going to go ahead and move these two over. So I'm going to subtract the 1 and subtract the cosine and set it to 0. Because I already know it's going to be quadratic in form. Now cleaning this up, we get 1 minus 2 cosine squared of theta minus 1 minus cosine of theta equals 0. Now we have everything in cosine, and what you're going to end up happening is the 1's cancel, so you have -2 cosine squared of theta minus cosine of theta equals 0. To make this easier, I can just negate this whole thing because we have a 0 here, and I'm going to get 2 cosine squared of theta plus cosine of theta equals 0. You don't have to, but it's a little easier. Now, I'm going to factor out a cosine of theta, and you get 2 cosine of theta plus 1 equals 0. Then it looks like one we did in a previous video, and we just set cosine of theta equals 0, and 2 cosine of theta plus 1 equals 0. On this one, we have theta equals pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. The right side, we're going to have cosine of theta equals -1/2. So theta will be 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. Setting up our solution set, you just write them all down as pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi over 3, and 4 pi over 3. And that is your answer. Same thing's going to happen with this one. I'm going to make everything with sine, so it's going to be 1 minus sine squared of theta plus minus sine squared of theta plus sine of theta equals 0. And this is going to yield 1 minus 2 sine squared of theta plus sine of theta. I'm going to rearrange this and get -2 sine squared of theta plus sine of theta plus 1. I don't like my lead to be negative, so I'm going to negate everything. And then it's very similar to one we've already done, and I'm going to just factor this out as 2 sine of theta plus 1 times sine of theta minus 1. If you solve for this side, you get 2, I'm just going to look at this side right here. We get sine of theta equals -1/2. And if you solve for this side, you get sine of theta equals 1. So our solution sets for the first part will be 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. And for this one, we get pi over 2. Some people like to write the pi over 2 first because it's the smaller angle. You can do that. Again, I'm going to go ahead and write this as 1 minus cosine squared of theta. I'm going to go ahead and distribute here. I'm going to go ahead and move everything over to the right and set it to 0. So we're going to have cosine squared of theta. It's going to be positive because I'm adding, plus my 6 cosine of theta. When I subtract 1 from both sides, I'm going to get I wrote this wrong. This should have been a plus, so that's a plus. So when you subtract 1, you're going to get a plus 5 here. Then you just factor. You're going to get cosine of theta plus 5 times cosine of theta plus 1 equals 0. I separate this out. That's your OR. Now, here we have cosine of theta equals negative 5, which is not possible. No solution on this side. And on the right, we have cosine of theta equals negative 1, which is basically pi. So theta is pi, and we only have one solution here, which is pi. Same thing for this last one. This is 2 times 1 minus cosine squared of theta. That's your Pythagorean identity. And I distributed the 3. I'll go ahead and distribute the 2 here. 2 cosine squared of theta. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move everything over to the right. So I will get, this will be 0 equals 2 positive 2 cosine squared of theta. I do it to the right because I want this to be positive. Now I have this minus, this is already on the right. I'm going to subtract the 2 from both sides, so I get plus 1. And then when you factor this, you're going to get 2 cosine of theta minus 1 times cosine of theta minus 1. And separating it out, oh, this equals 0. Separating this out, so this one's going to be cosine of theta equals 1/2. This one's cosine of theta equals 1. We have 2 solution sets here, which is pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. And only where cosine of theta is 1 is at theta equals 0. So my solution set is 0, comma, pi over 3, comma, 5 pi over 3. And that's all. The next set we're going to do are ones that involve dividing. And then after that, we're going to do double angle identities and solve. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.